There's no doubt that Hollywood is a fierce battlefield. In a place where thousands chase the same dream, only a lucky few ever make it into the spotlight. Landing a decent role is already hard enough, but staying relevant once fame hits, that's an entirely different challenge. Some actors struggle for years, taking background parts and minor roles before finally finding success in their 30s or 40s. And then there are those who skyrocket to fame with their very first role, only to watch everything crumble faster than they ever imagined. So what really separates a star who shines for decades from one that burns out in just a few short years? Sometimes it's talent, sometimes it's ambition, but more often than not, the downfall comes from within, from arrogance, addiction, or a chain of bad choices that can't be undone. In today's video, we'll look back at actors who once had Hollywood at their feet, names that were celebrated around the world until they destroyed their own careers with their own hands. In the early 2000s, the name Lindsay Lohan was synonymous with stardom. From The Parent Trap to Freaky Friday and then Mean Girls, she became the face of youth and success. A true Disney darling everyone believed would rule Hollywood for decades to come. But when the spotlight shone its brightest, that's when the darkness began to creep in. After moving to Los Angeles, Lindsay got swept up in a world of parties, hard drinks, and bad company. From a rising star, she turned into a tabloid regular, not for her movies, but for the endless scandals that followed. 2007 marked a turning point, but it was the kind that led downhill. Within just 1 year, she entered rehab 3 times. After her first DUI arrest, she admitted to MTV, "I completely lost control." But confession alone wasn't enough to save her. The harder she tried to prove she was fine, the deeper she fell into chaos. Santa Monica police once received a call from a woman claiming Lindsay had tried to run her over with a car. What followed was a flood of charges: driving under the influence, cocaine possession, and driving with a suspended license. She was sentenced to 1 day in jail, 10 days of community service, and 3 years of probation. But only a few years later, in 2010, Lindsay was back in court, this time sentenced to 90 days in jail for skipping her mandatory alcohol education classes. Like a never-ending cycle, she was released early due to overcrowding. Court, jail, rehab, relapse, that loop became the defining rhythm of Lindsay's youth. The public grew tired and Hollywood slowly let go. Then in 2011 came another shock. She was accused of stealing a $2,500 necklace from a jewelry store in Los Angeles. Outrage erupted. The Disney princess image officially shattered. Lindsay had no choice but to plead no contest to avoid a harsher sentence. From that moment on, one word stuck to her name: kleptomania. Between 2007 and 2013, Lindsay was convicted 6 times, sentenced to a total of 332 days behind bars, yet she served only 42 days in jail and 35 under house arrest. But for Hollywood, that was more than enough to end a career. No studio wanted to work with an actress known for showing up late, intoxicated, and out of control. Lindsay once had everything: talent, beauty, opportunity, but she lost it all by her own hand. From one of Hollywood's most beloved stars, she became a symbol of self-destruction in showbiz. In 2014, Lindsay left the US for Dubai, hoping for a fresh start, far from cameras and chaos. But fate, it seems, wasn't done with her yet. In 2018, she shocked the world again, live streaming herself on Instagram as she confronted a Syrian refugee family, convinced they were trafficking children. The video went viral worldwide, and once again, the world looked at her with a mix of anger and pity. From a Disney darling adored by millions to someone Hollywood turned its back on, Lindsay Lohan stands as a stark reminder that in the blinding light of fame, sometimes the cruelest enemy is yourself. If you've ever watched Transformers, you probably can't forget the image of that girl stepping out of the smoke, wrench in hand, eyes fierce yet irresistibly seductive, Megan Fox. With just one scene, she became Hollywood's new symbol of desire, the action goddess who captivated millions around the world. Transformers catapulted her into A-list stardom, The film grossed over $700 million, turning Meghan from an unknown name into a global icon. But few knew that dazzling spotlight would fade in less than 3 years. And with just one sentence, Megan Fox would destroy it all with her own hands. As Transformers 3 was about to begin production, Megan was set to return as Michaela Baines, earning a paycheck of $2.2 million, nearly triple what she made before. But before the cameras could even start rolling, everything fell apart. In an interview with Wonderland magazine, Megan unexpectedly compared director Michael Bay to Hitler. She said Bay was the kind of man who wants to control everything like a dictator, forcing the crew to work under unbearable pressure. That one seemingly harmless comment detonated like a media bomb. Just days later, Michael Bay fired Megan Fox from the project without a single explanation. A cold decision, but a final one. And from that very moment, Megan's career went into freefall. She didn't just lose a multi-million-dollar role, she lost her reputation. Hollywood labeled her as difficult, arrogant, unprofessional. Bay, the man who once made her a star, even hinted during an interview, "When I saw Megan again 8 months later, she just wasn't Michaela anymore." A short sentence, but one that told Hollywood everything it needed to know. Michael Bay had officially turned his back on her. At that time, social media was still in its infancy. Megan had no way to defend herself. No Instagram, no TikTok, no Twitter to tell her side of the story. All she could do was stay silent and watch as her image was twisted, as she was turned into a toxic diva in the eyes of the world. Years later, in an interview with ABC, Megan finally spoke up. "Everything people said about me wasn't true." She insisted she was never difficult to work with, that the rumors from those years had deeply hurt her. "I never wanted anyone to think I was arrogant or snobby. I always tried to make everyone feel comfortable. But by then, it was too late." Hollywood is ruthless. One crack and the spotlight can shatter forever. In just a few short years, Megan Fox lost her biggest roles, her image, and the trust of the industry that once adored her. From a global sex symbol to a cautionary tale, Megan Fox became living proof of one brutal truth about Hollywood. Sometimes you don't need a scandal or an addiction. One wrong sentence is enough to bury an entire career. When we talk about films that became a global phenomenon of the 2010s, I'm pretty sure Twilight will always be on that list. And in the middle of the Edward Bella frenzy, there was one name that made teenage girls around the world swoon. Taylor Lautner, the werewolf Jacob Black, with his chiseled body, wild eyes, and a smile that could send fans into a frenzy. From a little-known young actor, Lautner became an international star overnight. But that glory also marked the beginning of a downfall faster than anyone could have imagined. After Twilight, everyone thought Lautner would become the next big action hero, but his very first step outside the comfort zone turned out to be a fatal one. The 2011 action movie Abduction, his first leading role, was meant to be a breakthrough. Instead, it became a box office disaster. The script was slammed as nonsensical, the dialogue awkward, and Lautner's performance was described as nothing more than average. With a budget of $35 million, Abduction grossed only $28 million in North America and was torn apart by critics, scoring a miserable 5% on Rotten Tomatoes, a number low enough to bury the career of any young star. After that failure, Lautner made things worse for himself, demanding sky-high paychecks, even though his name no longer guaranteed box office success. Studios hesitated, directors stayed away, and the next big role never came. Meanwhile, Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart, his co-stars and peers, continued to rise, taking risks, exploring challenging roles, while Lautner remained stuck in the shadow of Jacob the werewolf. Then came the real blow, his looks. After years away from the spotlight, Lautner returned looking completely different. He had gained weight, lost muscle, and no longer had that sculpted physique. The media and social networks jumped in, comparing, mocking, dissecting. Even Lautner himself admitted, I looked at my old photos and thought, wow, that guy really let himself go. And when your biggest advantage, your image, is gone, Hollywood stops calling. In 2022, Taylor appeared in Netflix's comedy Home Team, but the film quickly faded into obscurity, just like his name, now a distant memory of Twilight's golden days. Success in Hollywood isn't just about talent, it's about resilience, the ability to stay true to yourself amid the chaos of fame. Because the spotlight can illuminate you, but it can also burn you if you don't know when to step back. So tell me, out of the three of them, who do you think deserves a second chance to shine? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you won't miss the next untold story from Hollywood.